What's going on, everybody? It's your boy PTK Blam back in the building with another episode of the Shop Podcast. Another beautiful Saturday, Shop Podcast 207. This is not a regular episode. Just want to put that out there if you didn't check the title already. But we have a super special guest in the house. You guys know how we normally do on the show, but I'm going to skip all of the pleasantries. Shout out to Stag as well watching. This man is on, borrowed time essentially, so we got to make sure we get him in here, get everything cooking. But just want to go ahead and dive right into our special guest. Shout out to you, Josh Munsee. He is a senior marketing manager for Xbox. So let everybody know in the chat, kind of what you do, what's going on, and appreciate you coming out, hanging out with us this Saturday.
Yeah, thanks. And hopefully not to steal thunder, but I hope it's just it's a regular show.
Yeah.
Regular guy just kind of chatting, but thanks for inviting me. And yeah, I think you kind of mentioned it, which is I'm just a senior marketing manager at Xbox, and specifically on our team we do what we call kind of integrated marketing, and so we can chat about more of like what exactly it is that and what do you do. But yeah, it's kind of our side of the team, and it's a big team, awesome team, but that's specifically the part I live in. And then my team and what I do is we've been kind of leading the marketing for a lot of our hardware, accessories, and then some other programs and services at Xbox. So, yeah.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate you taking some time out here, Josh. Once again, this is huge for us. This is a big thing. And we talked about this a little bit pre-game. The fact that you guys and management there at Xbox, you guys are super flexible, always reaching, back to the community, hanging out. Coming on podcasts, doing, just interacting in general. So once again, appreciate you for hanging out with us, and we'll dive right into the show. So super chat should be open. So I fixed all of that. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you have not already. We greatly appreciate you guys support every single week, but we're going to dive right in. So how we start normally how we start the show, no poll of the week this week. We're diving right in. So I'm going to start with the first question, Josh, just real quick here. Shout out to Stag. This is actually from Stag, Josh. He couldn't make it. He actually got his second COVID shot, so he's a bit under the weather. So shout out to Stag. I'm sure he's watching live right now, but he had a quick question. I wanted to make sure I got to his first. That's okay with you, sir?
Of course.
All right, awesome. So this is just not even gaming related. So he was the only one of us that didn't ask a gaming related question. But he wanted to ask you, what is your greatest accomplishment outside of gaming? And what non-gaming hobby do you enjoy? So just a little bit more about yourself in general.
Yeah, great question. Man, greatest accomplishment outside of gaming is the question?
Yep, greatest accomplishment outside of gaming.
Yeah, I would say, I come from a really small town, originally kind of just in northwestern Pennsylvania, actually. And I would say, for me, it was definitely one of those towns where you're like, it's not, it's for some people and that's amazing. For me, I was that kid that was like, hey, I want to get out and I want to go and do big things. Yeah. And I think throughout my life, just kind of being someone who has shown to be if you really are determined, you could put your mind to something just to follow that goal, have determination, have patience, and just kind of go and achieve those and, kind of really push for the things that you are passionate about. Mm-hmm. And, providing that example and helping either it's young people in their career or people in my own family who are like, we couldn't do this. What I would say is definitely, for me at least, part of something I'm really proud of is and having that support, to be able to do that for my family. But it's just kind of one of those things where you're like, it was easy to kind of just to fall into the things that, can happen all the time. And for me, getting out and, pursuing my dreams and things like that are the things that I'm definitely proud of. And then in terms of hobby outside of gaming, I tend to cook a lot. I think
nice.
Yeah, it became like a creative outlet in a lot of ways. Definitely coming from that small town, like, dairy farms and farm country. You're definitely like, okay, like it's not the culinary center of the world. And then I, moved and went to college in Florida and kind of had a whole, different experience, and lived in Miami for about 5-6 years before moving to Seattle. And so just really kind of found my like culinary, itch and calling. And so creatively, it's just a fun way. It's a different, requires a different type of I guess just behavior, when we're in work mode and different modes, but in culinary world, it's kind of just like you can be creative in a different way and kind of stretch yourself. So that's kind of what I like to do as a hobby, and just explore different things to try and do constantly. So.
All right. Well, that's cool. I mean, I'm a bit of a cook myself. So no, and I'm not lying, chat. So I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it, chat. I don't see anything about me.
I think you're lying.
We don't. We're gonna have to prove this on a live stream at some point. I can probably cook. I'm probably the best cook out of everybody on the podcast. I'm Pong, and I'm confident with that.
Challenge accepted.
Yes, I'm pretty.
I'm more of a baker.
See, that's a cop out. Bacon's not cooking anyway. No, but
I will say, like, I am not a baker. I think because it is far more of a science.
Patience.
It like really requires patience and timing and measuring the right ingredients. I'm more the like eyeball. I'm like, nah, it doesn't look like enough. That looks better. And then you do that in baking, you're like, that doesn't work. So.
Yeah, it's not going to work. It has to be exact as far as baking, or you're just going to screw everything up. So no, once again, appreciate you, Josh. But that was Stag's question. Shout out to Stag. I hope you're watching live right now. I hope you're feeling better. Got your feet up in your blankie.
Yeah, feel better.
Feel better, brother. But we're gonna keep this thing moving, man. So I actually wanted to ask a question, and I'm gonna go ahead and round the panel, let my panel mates ask their questions, and we'll just keep it, freestyle here. So I'm just curious. Just since this is directly related to what you guys do, what you specifically do at Xbox, how has marketing changed for Xbox in general since the growth of Game Pass? I know we talked about it a little bit pre-game, so if you could elaborate on that. How has it changed since from the conception, the idea of Game Pass to where you guys are at now?
Yeah, let me, maybe kind of just give, if it's okay, like a quick kind of
sure.
of what our team does, so then you have context of how we think about it. But there's a lot of groups within marketing at Xbox, so many talented people, and it's, from our retail experience to our brand experience, and, the team that oversees the brand, to PR, our packaging team, who's just incredible. So there's a lot of groups within our marketing team, and our events team that puts on all of our events, kind of live shows, things like that. Obviously, with COVID over the last year, less events and kind of more live shows. Yeah. And so within our team, there's kind of, there's then two kind of groups, and one group is the group that we kind of, leads. I would say I always consider them the like hub of a wheel, and then all of us are spokes that feed into them, and we kind of. They're really our product marketing leads, and they are the group that kind of makes a lot of the, I guess, product market-led decisions, marketing-led decisions. They work really closely with engineering. They work closely within all those groups I said, kind of filter into them, and they kind of keep everybody moving towards like a product vision and goal and go-to-market plan. And then our team is specifically called, integrated marketing. And what that is there's a lot of different ways we call it internally, but it's essentially we create the marketing campaigns for all of our products and services. So the actual things that you as fans actually experience when we're doing marketing. So whether it's, videos, or it's, digital content, or it's TV ads, or all those, types of touch points that a lot of our fans engage directly in terms of those products. We kind of own the creation of those. And so as we, you think about Game Pass, I was fortunate enough, I actually launched Game Pass. I was kind of the marketing lead originally, launching Game Pass. And I remember I actually launched Game Pass and Mixer within a week of each other. Right before an E3. So we kind of announced Game Pass, and then we did this really funny ad with like Danny McBride. For anyone who knows Danny McBride, it was just this kind of like the promise of 100 great games all kind of being there, and got some great stories. But Danny was a tremendous talent. But so we kind of did that, and we were working on that campaign to launch Game Pass, and then a week later we were working on another campaign to officially announce the rebranding, which was Beam, to Mixer, and then launch Mixer, and then all do that right before E3. So so my context of Game Pass, I had a chance, and I think at first, like any service, the original strategy and goal or the objective was just awareness. Like we just had to make people aware of it. So we're really focused on just generating awareness for the service and kind of what it offered. And at the time, a lot more kind of, it wasn't the day and date titles from our launches now. We didn't have the AAAs launching. It was more of a back catalog of games. And the team knew that, like, though third party were important. So it was a mixture of first party, third party. So it was kind of just really driving awareness and driving value. And then I think as it's evolved, I think you've really seen a lot of the focus shift to what fans really have said, like, this is what I want out of this service. And it was that reason to get the service to play those first party, Xbox games the day they release. It's, as we're seeing with the third party and other publishers and studios seeing the value now as the subscriber base has grown, they start to jump in and they're kind of like, hey, we want to launch our game here. And this seems like a really good way to get our game to a lot of fans. So it's really changed, like the product's changed, and listening to fan feedback throughout the last couple of years. And then as it moves forward, the strategy starts to really evolve into being really focused on the content. And I think that's what you're seeing. We've really kind of figured out the service part of it. And now it's just about continue to bring great content, great value. And you're really seeing that happen, having the show, having Outriders, knowing that those, first party games are going to keep coming. As we see more announcements come, more games come. And then in addition, the expansion of where you can play and access Game Pass. So as we do more with the cloud service, and, we're in the beta now for the iPhone and the browser experience, it's just going to be accessible to more people in more ways. So in a lot of ways, that's kind of where it's evolved to, is like just focus on the content, and the content just starts to get stronger and gives more fans a reason to want to believe, and want to subscribe and kind of experience their gaming through a service like Game Pass. But, I would say the first part was awareness. Second part was, as you do something innovative like a Game Pass and you kind of bring a new model to an industry of consuming content, like for us, for gaming, it was about proving that model, was, sustainable, and that, fans could trust it in a lot of ways of like, hey, like this is new and different. Is it going to be around? What's the case going to be? And we've proven that. And now it's really just, full on focus on the content, and the team has all the other parts kind of figured out. And
got it. And it almost felt like, obviously, something, and the one thing I want to highlight out of what you said is that this is something that the industry's never seen, or Game Pass is something that we've seen versions, I guess you could say, on Live and all these other different subscription type. What was the other one we could get games in the mail? I can't think of the name. Gamefly, stuff like that. It wasn't not quite, the digital content obviously wasn't available back then, but similar-ish enough, essentially ideas. But the Game Pass is something that we've never seen, and the fact that you guys have been able to, like you said, go from that phase of just trial and proving to people this is something that's going to be around to where it's at now, in seemingly what 3 years, 4 years now, 3 or 4, I can't remember exactly, but. About 3 years. Am I right on that, Josh?
It's I think closer to 4.
Closer to 4? Okay. All right. So that's amazing. That's amazing. But I want to give my compadres here a chance to get their questions in. So we'll just throw this over to you, Fuzz. Go ahead. You take the floor. It's on you, Fuzz.
This one might be a little bit of a tough question when it comes to like preparation. Like with the Xbox Series S, you guys pretty much, although it wasn't completely a secret, but there was that you know, unknown that it may be canceled, it may be available. It wasn't really confirmed. With something like that, where you're planning 6 to 12 months out, do you plan for like the unaccountables, like a leak or like a market change, like with the pandemic? Like, how does that factor into the overall game plan, or are these things that you kind of tackle as they come, you come across them?
Yeah, it's a really good question. It's a little bit of both. What I would say is the best thing is we have a plan and we plan the plan. So it's harder to react if you don't have a plan already in place to any situation. Whether it's if it's a leak or if it's, a once in a generation pandemic, but still having your plan and kind of having it ready to execute, and having the kind of ability as a team to be able to just be like, hey, we can hold on this. We're going to wait. We're going to find a new time to go out with an announce or a reveal. And, with the leak, kind of being able to pull that trigger after it happened when we did, and then actually announce it via Twitter at 12, I think it was like right after 12 o'clock and, AM, right around midnight. It was because we're prepared and we had everything ready already previously to kind of go. So I think that, the goal is just be prepared, and even though we're planning 6 to 12 months, but as different things happen, whether it's, maybe it was, we did an announcement before and that announcement didn't go as the way we wanted it to go. And so we're kind of like, hey, we don't want to go out with this announcement now because this one didn't land the way we wanted it to. And so we kind of want to readdress that before we go with this. But knowing that we had this all planned and we have it ready to go whenever we need it, I think that's kind of the strategy is you work your plan and you have your original timing, but then you just adjust as you need to, and then, kind of drop the announcement when it's ready. And you just take in all those external factors. And as a team, we have the discussion and we're kind of like, hey, we want to wait, we want to hold, do we want to go now? And, we'll make those decisions as a team quickly. And then we have everything prepped and ready to go. And we just, kind of go and light it up. So yeah, it's a little bit of both. It's basically, it's like, have the plan and then be agile and ready to adjust the plan, but as long as you kind of have it ready, you can make those agile decisions in the moments when they come.
Nice.
Thank you. Awesome. No, not a problem, man. We're going to keep this thing moving, man. So Pong, so you, brother, floor is yours, man.
Absolutely. First of all, a pleasure and honor to have you here, Josh. Thank you so much for your time today. Really,
Thanks, Don.
truly. Yeah, no, this is fantastic. I've got so many questions, but let's see here.
I know, I saw your list.
Yeah, and I left a bunch out too. But anyways, I think it's fascinating what you guys do in marketing. So that's why it's incredible. So I guess let me ask you this one. What is the process when you guys decide to place like an unannounced product, like the wireless headsets that you guys did in the commercial? What is that process like? Is it like one person comes up with an idea, is like, hey, I think we should put our wireless headsets that we haven't told anybody about in the commercial, or is it kind of like a group effort? Is it more just like for fun that you guys do that kind of stuff, or is there like a strategy behind it? And then just to follow up, I mean, what's the approval process to do something like that? Is it a tough one?
Good question. I would say yes. It's broadly yes. But more specifically to the headset, it was a moment where it was actually, we shot that ad with Daniel Kaluuya, who another fantastic talent, also
got an Oscar. Didn't he win an Oscar?
Recent Oscar winner. Yeah. So just love that he was, I didn't actually know this, but we were his first commercial project.
Oh, wow.
So outside of film and TV, his first kind of commercial was working with us. So I was like, oh, I didn't realize that. I just was kind of made aware of that. So I was like, that's pretty cool, and he was fantastic. But, I think it comes back to, we always want to represent gamers authentically, and headsets have kind of specifically have become such an integral part of gaming. I think before it was always kind of the like, oh, only the multiplayer gamers have headsets. Now everybody wears them. It's like part of it. It's like a controller. It's everybody has a headset. Whether it's just better sound and sound technology with consoles and gaming. So with that, we want to bring a headset in, and we usually will go with like a partner headset, something like a Turtle Beach or an Astro, but something is authentic to our gamers. And we had our headset in development, so obviously since he wore it, and we knew what was coming. It was actually one of those when we were going to release it, and we were kind of like, hey, we might release it potentially before the holidays, it might release after the holidays. So it wasn't directly our decision, but we really wanted to put it in there. And then we worked with, and I mentioned that other group in our marketing team that we consider the product marketers. So we actually worked with them, and we said, hey, we want to feature the headset. We think that it'll look great if people kind of call attention to it. Let them, it'll be fine. And, let them kind of see if they notice it and they want to talk about it, and it kind of generates conversation. But at the same time, if they don't at all, it doesn't hurt. And so it's just, sometimes it's just calculated, kind of decision-making and partnership with our product marketing team. They're like, the way we shot it head on, and didn't give away too many details. So we kind of felt like, hey, maybe we'll someone. I think a few people did call out like, that's what headset is that? But we didn't really go anywhere from there. And then I'm sitting there like,
I wondered if you
don't respond.
I wondered. I know you were sitting there wondering. I wonder how many people are actually going to catch that.
Yeah. So sometimes it is like, in that case, specifically that example, it was one where we want to put our own, we're like, hey, we're going to have it coming out relatively soon. All products kind of have a release window, right. Kind of like what's the earliest it can launch. And then what is the potential, like, kind of later scenario, or like, what's the last, we would want it to launch. So every product has a window, and we kind of have to just it comes back to Fuzzy's earlier question of have the plan ready and then be able to adjust the plan. Right. And so we had the plan, and we're just like, hey, let's adjust it. It ended up not launching before holiday, but we still shot it and put it in the console launch ad. And like I said, some people caught up on it, and we're kind of like watching it, and then it kind of didn't go anywhere with that one specifically. But there's a few of those where you're joking. I was so surprised that with someone like Taika Waititi, he came back and directed for the first time from COVID after being off for 6 months for another ad we did. And he posted a picture of him. He has this thing of like posting himself napping on the director's chair, which is like his kind of like kicking off of a project. And in the back were the storyboards with our ad. And we're like,
really?
Oh, wow.
Whole ad. And we shot that in like, I think July or August, we filmed with him. So, and the ad didn't come out until November. So we're like, oh, man, we're going to see it, but no one picked up on it either. Wow, so I was like,
what? Wow, you guys are sneaky, Josh. You guys are sneaky.
So far, like now we're getting caught. Like I brought a shelf, but I can promise on the shelf.
Yeah, we've already covered the shelf situation, chat, before we went live, for sure.
Yeah, but so now people are kind of catching on, but it's fun. I mean, we do. I will say in all things we usually create, there's something not like an unannounced thing, but there's always something that kind of just bring our heritage and legacy and fun of games and gaming into it in more kind of discoverable ways. Like the behavior of like our fans kind of freeze framing videos and finding things, it's not new, and it's part of the fun, and we like to have fun with it too. So
we awesome. Absolutely love it. So it's fantastic.
Yeah, great question. Great question, because that was definitely a great question. So, all right, Centurion, we're gonna roll this over to you, and then we're just gonna, kick off some, some just questions, and we'll just keep going, man. This is so much fun. Once again, chat, appreciate you guys watching us live. Retweet the link. Let everybody know the Shop Podcast is live today on Twitter. All the information down in the description. So yeah, go ahead, Centurion. So you, brother.
All right. By the way, nice to actually officially say hello, Josh. So I try to at least kind of frame my questions around kind of like hot button issues kind of going on, I guess. If you don't want to touch on the second half of my question, I do not blame you. I understand how PR works. So the first question is, we all see a heavy push for Game Pass advertising, especially when it comes to MLB The Show. Almost every MLB The Show commercial has a Game Pass logo on the end of it. So what do you think, what would be the marketing nightmare involved in trying to undo years and years of exclusivity marketing to all of a sudden have to not only let people know that a game is no longer an exclusive title, but it's also going into Game Pass day and date? And then the second half of the question kind of got birthed by your comments here earlier, talking about, changing the plan, staying on top of everything, learning how to pivot. And if you don't want to touch this part, it's perfectly fine. But did you want to make a comment at all on the Xbox Live price increase incident thing that we had, a few months back, and how we pivoted to now having games that are free to play actually officially going free to play from Xbox Live?
I will try to touch on them in a way that, our PR team doesn't email me afterwards.
It's perfectly fine. I totally understand that. I understand there's rules to all this, and I at least want to ask a question that would make somebody want to lean in, but I also understand that if you can't answer it straight, it's just how it is.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's more of a, to your first question, I think it's a great question. I don't want to, I will be honest in saying I wasn't involved in any of the negotiations to bring MLB The Show to Game Pass, or kind of involved in the marketing. What I'll say is, I think we're all just excited. We've had a lot of great partnerships with EA and kind of with Madden and FIFA in the past, and 2K and kind of NBA there. And so we just haven't had a MLB kind of really, focused game. And so I think we're all just excited to finally have that type of game on Xbox. And then, to bring it to Game Pass, I think just speaks to the strength of Game Pass and how it's helping developers and studios and publishers reach more gamers, especially in the Xbox ecosystem. And so, like I said, I can't really, I wasn't in the conversations, and that's just not me, hiding. I really wasn't. But I can imagine it was just kind of came back to, they saw value in it and wanted to, and like all marketing, when we do these kind of marketing deals, we don't really make them exclusive. I think that's something as a strategy, Phil has said, not big on the exclusive. It's just more of a co-marketing, and how we work with that studio to be like, hey, let's market this title to, on our platform, whether it's through a console or, different means, whether it's through Game Pass, and what makes it great to play on our kind of platform. And so it's just, kind of like that. I don't know if, I can't speak to the end of like how difficult it is to reverse kind of being exclusive. We see a lot of games, shift, studios shift, things like Insomniac working on Sunset Overdrive, and then doing Spider-Man, which was, fantastic game, and now doing other games that are just been really, really awesome. So, it's just the industry, and it shifts at different times. And so I'd imagine it's, probably, not more difficult than, some of those scenarios. So, for that. And then specifically with gold, again, it was another one that I wasn't specifically in. What I can say is that I think part of it was you kind of hit on it. You have a plan, and we kind of wanted to.
Well, I don't deny you guys have a system that actually does have probably a premium price tag to maintain. So in the business I'm in, I totally understand the cost of business always goes up. It never goes down. So I'm sorry, I didn't want to interrupt on that by you saying you had a plan, but I totally understand the concept of the cost of business always goes up.
Yeah, well, I think it just comes back to, I think really what comes back to is like, the announcement was kind of going to be done. And I think the team was more looking at it in a different way than even they anticipated how it would be, I guess, translated in a way, like, in terms of how it was received by the fans. But I think that just speaks to what we've been doing as a organization. I said this kind of in our early just conversation, where the idea of like, we really believe that the fans are, are so important to like what we do, and we listen to our fans, and we really want to do right by them, and we want to make the right decisions. And it really bumps us out, as an organization, when we don't feel like we've landed something well with fans. And so that was one of them. And it was so quick that I think you just saw that, like, oh yeah, like we didn't see it in the way that it ended up going. And sometimes that happens, but I think the strength was, and the awesome was that the fans voiced their opinion, and our leadership team was like, you know what, let's reverse course here. And, let's kind of pull back that and then change. And I think, that just kind of speaks to a value and a principle that we have as an organization, that we truly want to make sure we're always putting the fans at the center of our decision making and what you all kind of want. And that was the kind of, strength behind, like, yeah, we wanted to make, we had this announcement. Again, I think it was kind of more, it was a little bit different than how we saw it kind of get picked up. And sometimes that happens, right? Like, you try to anticipate all the different ways something can be, I guess, kind of interpreted when you go and make different decisions and launches and announcements. And we try to account for those, but sometimes we don't see them all. And that was one we just didn't see it. And I think then it speaks to the strength of our leadership team to go out there and be like, hey, let's reverse course and, kind of pull back on this. So hopefully that answers, or, sorry if it felt.
Oh, no, that's fine. That is fine.
I'll say, yeah, that's fine. It's always about the pivoting, in my opinion. I really say what makes a business is learning to pivot. And when you can really pivot on, like, at a moment's notice and learn how to kind of like change course of something, that makes all the difference in the world.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But it goes back to, like, if we didn't have the plan, if we weren't thinking about free to play games already, like, it would have been much harder to make that commitment, but having that kind of already, thought about as like, hey, we want to do this as a business, and kind of remove the gold paywall from free to play games, it allowed us to kind of, come back and then address that decision, and then announce with it that, hey, we were working on this, and, it actually arrived, in the last week, where free to play, games are available without gold. So
yeah, that's awesome. That is definitely awesome. So I'm gonna circle back around, but I'm gonna flip the script on you here in a second, once after I ask this question, because I actually am curious to see if you have any questions from your perspective to us, as just kind of being, I don't know how often you get to ask questions to just directly to people that, use your product on a daily basis. So I kind of want to flip it on you. I know you didn't see this coming, Josh. So,
yeah. I was ready to do the answering. Yeah,
exactly. Just get something fun real quick. But I had a quick question. Now this is about Bethesda. I'm sure I don't know how much you had to do with any of that, but just your specific job in marketing, bringing on something like that's a king's ransom worth of developers. That's not just one or two studios. That's 7-8 studios already established infrastructure with $1 billion games already on their own. So how has that changed you guys' job specifically, and what's it been like working with them and their teams over there as far as marketing?
Yeah, I would say, as of right now, it hasn't changed our jobs, other than it's just given us a really great partner and a lot of great content and gaming legacy and heritage, and just you think about what they bring, iconic characters, worlds that we've all played, we've been playing for years. So be able to put that into your portfolio and kind of be like, hey, we can leverage that. Like, that's pretty cool. Like, now, how do we work with them? It's like, email like, hey, can you put your thing in a thing we're doing? Can we put, one of your characters or something in a thing we're doing? And so far the partnership has been really awesome. I think, really it's how they've been addressing a lot of the acquisitions, which is the studios still are supported to run and build the games and experiences and the things they want. And they just kind of get our support and, and then anything that we do that brings them in, it's a partnership of like, hey, we want to leverage your characters or things from your IPs and your studios, and here's how we want to do it. And they give us feedback, and we work on it together, and then we release it. So I would say that's kind of been the working partnership so far, and it's been awesome. Whether it was the deal closed and bringing the 20 games to Game Pass just a couple months ago, to other things that we might do together. So it's been it's been really awesome to just leverage. And I can tell you, as like someone, like I didn't realize this, but I'm like, I play a lot of Bethesda games.
Nice.
I was going back, I was like, man, I've played Dishonored, I've played Wolfenstein, I've played Doom. I was starting to pick up Prey. I was like, man, I play Fallout. I was like, play all their games, and I didn't realize it.
That's awesome. That is awesome. And just quick here before I flip the show on you here. What was your reaction when you first heard that this is going on? Like when you even heard, like, whoa, like was it the same as ours? Because we woke up on Monday and we all got slapped in the face. In September, last September.
It really was. Those types of things are kept to be very small. Small,
got it.
And frankly, that's, as the marketer for hardware and accessories and things, obviously wasn't in the know of that. So when they announced it, it was like, holy crap, like that's awesome. Like I said, like, how could you ask for, a better, just the games I announced, the characters and the worlds that they've built. I mean, we've been working with them for a lot of years, just partners, like kind of like we had that campaign that was like, we've always been friends, now we're family. And it was true. Like we're like Xbox and Bethesda have been kind of jointly connected in some way, shape or form for many years, dating back to the original Xbox. So, it just felt like this feels natural. It feels cool, it feels good. And I think with that, all gamers, you see something like that and you're like, this is rad. Like for us, it was just rad. It was really, really awesome to kind of know that like we're going to be able to leverage those things and see them grow on our platform. And for our gamers, it's just really fun. So awesome. I think that was the biggest thing. It was really fun. I think our gamers, were like, this is awesome. This is fun. I think the industry thought it was fun. So
it was a big, like, I woke up and almost threw my phone when I saw it. I thought it was a joke. Like, I think all of us woke up and thought it was like, there's no way this is happening this early in the morning on a random Monday in was it September, I believe it was, when we got the announcement. Something like that, I believe.
Yeah,
I think it was a month, September. So it was insane. So kudos to you guys. I'm sure
I love that they announced it right before we launched the consoles too. I was like,
that was super cool.
Like, I like the timing, gave us another good, I think it came right after, our Series S announced, and we were kind of in between. We announced Series S, and then we were getting ready for the actual console launch, and it kind of came in that, window there. And so it was like a nice kind of like, again, just momentum, builder. We felt like coming out of the Game Awards when we announced Series X and just, landing all the hardware and the platform things leading up to launch, we just felt like we had a lot of really good momentum, and that just kind of really helped us, I would say. So kudos to our team, in the timing when they decided to make that announcement. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, no, that was awesome. I think, like I said before, that was, we still talk about it this day. I mean, it's something that I'll probably remember. It's a moment, as far as this generation, just a moment in gaming history in general. I mean, that doesn't happen almost ever. Somebody purchases a publisher, in its entirety. So that was super dope. Yeah. But now it is on you, Josh, just for a little bit. We're gonna flip the script here and just see. I mean, if you have anything you want to ask, I mean, anybody in the chat, us here, we can all answer it. Just in general from your side, of the fence.
Yeah, actually, I have a very kind of specific question to what you do with the podcast specifically, and I'll frame it if I may.
Yeah.
that, I think one of the things we talked about was how has marketing changed, whether it's been the last year, 2 years, 3 years. And I would say for me, one of the biggest things in marketing that has changed is the rise as gaming as an industry has kind of continued to grow and not just, revenue and size, but also cultural impact. Like we just see like gaming is like the thing, celebrities and athletes and everyone's really into gaming. We've noticed is like, you kind of see the rise of, and we've always kind of had YouTube has been around for a while, social media has been around for a while, and influencers have been around, but we've really started to see the rise of what you guys do here on a weekly basis, which is really the extended kind of podcast, the YouTube, talk shows. And it's one of the things that we've identified and kind of impacted our strategy, which was really starting to land news, what we consider like, hey, come in unexpectedly and drop news. And we see that it creates a lot more kind of momentum and conversation, and a lot of great groups like you all and different podcasts pick up and extend that conversation and kind of keep the momentum and energy on things that we do. But I also have noticed like when we do things that are like, hey, we kind of try to drive some pre-promotion of something, like in a week, we're going to do some things. We've also noticed that like the same types of shows will go and talk about them. Then you all have your expectations. So I kind of want to just learn from you guys, how do you, when you're thinking about putting together a show and that there are other Xbox related shows out there, how do you think about getting people to view your show? And then, what tactics and strategies do you use to get them to check out your content, given that you're all kind of reacting to something or to something coming up?
So hey,
PTK.
Yeah.
We got a fuzzy Belvedere.
That's true. That's a good point. I don't know if you must have didn't hear Fuzzy's voice, Josh. That brings all the people in. Smooth as butter. But no, in all actuality, Josh. So it's funny because I always highlight this on the show every week. We talk about this all the time. And I always say we talk about the same stuff. There's 50 different podcasts every day of the week. There didn't used to be that didn't when I started this particular podcast, there was maybe 3 total. So I've been doing this for about 4.5, 5 years now. And so I've been able to see over time how that's been affected by you guys' growth and how it's affected YouTube as well. So when I'm trying to distinguish the podcast, I mean, the best way is just trying to be original. Because I mean, I think people attach to the person's personality. Like I've never shown my face, but people attach to the content, people attach to our personalities, just the feel of the show. So I think that has a lot to do with it being genuine, being fairly knowledgeable about what you're talking about. We don't really do the whole clickbait thing. We talk about all the systems, PC, consoles, Nintendo, Xbox, PlayStation, try and just be open as possible. That's the principles that I've built this podcast on. I'm here to have fun, and the common denominator is video games. So hopefully that gets through, and I think it has over time. And that's kind of what we built this particular show off of, just being genuinely, having a genuine love for video games. And I think that's the biggest thing, just being yourself. Because I could easily go make a clickbait thumbnail and or title, but I think that's temporary. I think you paint yourself in a corner when you decide to take that route. That's just my opinion. It's successful for some people, but I rather people look at the show and view it, based on my genuine and these guys, other gentlemen's genuine love for video games. So that's why we're here. So I just think from my perspective, that's kind of what I've built this particular show on as far as me. So I don't know, you fellas, you guys want to just kind of piggyback off of that? Go ahead.
Yeah, that's fine. As I guess the newest comer to the whole industry as far as podcasting goes, I had no inkling I was going to be doing that, and this year totally changed everything. So here I am. But being on a bunch of different shows, I think, Josh, the whole thing is everybody, whoever's creating the show comes from a different standpoint. So I guess some of the shows can get samey. Absolutely, because so many people now are here talking about the same types of topics. But when we see you guys, announce something, or we hear speculation that something's going to be coming up, really to piggyback off PTK, it's about having a unique point of view that is authentic, but maybe looking at it from a different angle. And I'm on a few shows that do that. I'll speak for my show specifically that myself and Steel Rain started. What we try to do is we try to be organic. We don't try to plan out specifically. So him and I try to have discussions that are going to broaden the scope of whatever topic it is. So if we're talking about, let's say the ZeniMax deal, we try to broaden that topic out and not try to just straight analyze it like everybody else or like a majority of people may be doing. So we try to see what else we can find or try to think of. And I love Speculation Town, Josh. So,
I love it. We love it, Josh. We love it.
Exactly.
You guys give us ammunition. We love it.
Oh yeah, we'll run with anything, right?
Man.
So even if you guys have 0 plans, we have 1,000 plans laid out for you and ready to go, right? So
we put a headset in a commercial and no one talked about it.
Right, exactly. And you know what? We didn't catch on to that one quick enough. We just took that commercial at face value, and we shouldn't have. We should have known that you guys were trying to have some fun there as well. And now you guys can't get away with that.
I know. It was like we kind of hurt ourselves.
We won't make that mistake again. I'm sure if you guys are paying attention to the podcast scene, you understand that those mistakes aren't made twice.
Oh, he's on Twitter. He sees all of the analysis and screenshots and breakdowns. I know he sees it.
But I think that's the biggest thing is that you do try to come at it from a different angle. So not every show is the same. And the other good news is that so many different people are doing it now. There are so many different voices and so many different trains of thought, that are being put out there that you do get a different perspective most of the time on most of the shows. And, I can't tell you how many times I came into a show thinking one thing and then somebody brought up something else. And I was like, you know what? That's a really good thought. I mean, it changes, and I think that's why people tune into all these podcasts. But just keep it coming. That's all I'm going to tell you. You guys can keep throwing hints out there. We like Melissa McGame Pass. She's amazing.
Yeah, so she's awesome.
You guys,
Employee of the year.
Yeah.
so you guys keep it up, and we'll keep putting out speculation out here. I promise.
Oh man, awesome. It's so fun. It's so awesome. I mean, any other question that you have, Josh, before we kind of flip things back to you here? Anything else you can think of?
Yeah, no, that was my big one. I just kind of wanted to, position for how you guys, think about shows. And like I said, for us, that's been a big shift and I think in the industry, candidly, I think, the gaming industry has to kind of reevaluate like what is kind of expectation setting in a way and making sure that how we word things, if we are doing something like, hey, we're going to come out with a show and tune in, how we word things. And that was one of our learnings last spring. We did the show, which had a lot of great, awesome studios. And we mislabeled it with, it was gameplay. I think we mislabeled that.
Yep.
And, we that was another one where it's like, and a lot of people call it out, well, it's not really gameplay. And we're like, well, the trailers had game capture. But at the end of the day, it was like, you're right. It wasn't gameplay. And we were like, oh man, we kind of messed up that one. And that's why I say like, we as a team are bummed when we let fans down. And so, or like in that case, other studio partners, right? And we just kind of mislabeled it, not thinking, not doing the right amount of thinking in terms of just the terminology. And we were then really bummed that people were kind of like bummed, that the show wasn't the expectation that they had.
Can I at least add on to what he's saying, PTK?
Go ahead.
I just don't. I understand his idea of feeling letting everybody down using the wrong words. But I also do feel, my friend, you guys should be able to say that you are going to have a show and everybody automatically does not go to, yeah, we're having an E3 where everything's going to be a world premiere, just, blockbuster after block. I mean, every time you guys say there's a show, I mean, people start rolling out the rumor mill at this point is breaking down from just the minute the word somebody says show.
Yeah.
But so a lot of that too, Josh, to be fair, I don't know how often you guys, and this is why this is super awesome that Xbox, you guys do this. So you guys get direct feedback from us, but it's us. I promise you. I know you guys may feel like you misworded it, and maybe, yeah, but it's us. It's not you guys. We just have these insane expectations. We ask more and more from you guys every single year and or generation, but we expect less issues, but we ask for more. So just from my perspective, just to throw you a bone there, it's not just Xbox. It wasn't just the wording. A lot of it was us just overdoing it. So to be fair,
can I add on just one last? Because when we were talking about the shows and everything, I don't do a podcast, but one thing I do like is the sense of community, especially in the gaming community. I understand because I've always referred to it as a neighborhood, and like in every good neighborhood, there's always that neighbor that stands out in the yard screaming at the top of their head, just making a scene. And I understand that it just comes with the neighborhood. I love the sense of community, and when I look at the community as a whole, I see Xbox engaged in that community very actively. And I mean, I have gotten to now sit down with you. I've gotten to sit down with David Preen. I've gotten to sit down with other members of the Microsoft executive force out there. And I mean, it's really amazing that we are talking about Microsoft, a Fortune 500 company, and the executives have no problem sitting down, talking to everyday people like myself. And that just, in my opinion, why I gravitate towards Xbox, Microsoft as a brand, because I feel like it speaks values about the people who are in control. I understand it's a corporation. It is what it is. But when we look at the core and the people in control, you even said that the marketing team really keeps their ear to the ground when they want to know the temperature of the room when it comes to the community. And they actually, it actually upsets you guys when you saw the community became like all up in arms over the price hike of Xbox Live. So to me, it's really hard to find companies that even begin to socialize with the people who consume their products, let alone want to sit down and actually listen to them.
Yeah, thanks. And I got to call out, if I can, to Dave, really close to Dave. I will say my first hardware launch was on the Elite controller.
Nice.
So I worked closely with Dave to launch that. And yeah, it's funny. Me and Dave have a fun little. Both he and I have, a passion and played lacrosse. He's also from a Northeast, and then he went to college at the University of Maryland. So we kind of just jab at him because they used to be in the ACC, and I went to Florida State, and they had to leave the ACC because it was too tough for him. So just a little chat. But no, I love Dave. We have a great relationship. So I'm just going to use the opportunity to call him out. But yeah, thanks for, I think that's, it's like I said, it bums us out, but ultimately it just comes back to, and I think we were mentioning, like, it isn't when we say like, hey, we put fans at the center of what we do and how we think and our decision making. It isn't a lip service. Like, there really is just so many people at Xbox who care about our fans and wanting to do right and make the right decisions and, launch the right marketing content, launch a good product. Like, we're just so happy. I think you've seen coming out of the consoles and, it's extending into the other things we're doing with Game Pass and cloud. It's just, we feel like we finally, we delivered a great console. Like, we believe in what our team did. We believe in what the engineering team did. The design team and how they thought about it, and just the innovation to get it as small as it was able to get, size wise, even though it's, bigger in some respects, but to keep it cool, to keep it quiet. It's just incredible. Like, I'm in awe of our team, sometimes, and I know that sounds kind of lame, but, we get to see these things and we're just like, man, like, our team's incredible. And I tweet about it too, just our team who's working on all the browser, to bring the browser to life, and the xCloud technology and the Game Pass team, and how they've made that such a great experience, you know, as a service. And it's always improving. Like, feedback keep coming. Like, it's never done. Like, the work's never done, but it is something that just, they generally keep listening and improving. And we do the same at marketing. Like, we learn from each moment to the next of like, hey, that one didn't feel like it went so great. And then we get an opportunity, and then it's like Series S, and it was like leak, and like, oh, that kind of sucks. But like, let's go. Like, we had the plan, and we're again, it was a window of when we were going to announce it, and it was in the window, and we had everything ready. So we're like, let's just go. And it ended up kind of being more, the momentum switched to being something more positive and favorable. You know, but generally it's just like we learn, you know, each time, you know, just how to get better. And, you know, that comes from listening to really a lot of the fans and the fan feedback. And, you know, a lot of our team members, like, they'll listen to podcasts, they, you know, engage with you guys. You mentioned on Twitter and different social networks. And so we're always constantly, I think one of the things we talked about is like, how aware are we of what's being said and how it's being said. And I would say we're always aware, you know. Now, will we always act on it, or how do we take the things that we're aware of and then act on it? Might be different, but generally we're always wanting to be conscious of what's happening. We don't want to be tone deaf or disconnected from the people using our products and our services. So,
well, all of that shines through, Josh. That's all I got to say. All of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Absolutely. It's been incredible to see what you guys have done.
Absolutely. So just to, because I know, you know, I know Josh is on some kind of some tight time, but just to wrap things up here before we wrap the show up, I do have one more question for you, Josh. Just with everything we've kind of talked about, all the culmination of all the hard work that you guys at Xbox have done, from, you know, all the studios that have been purchased recently, and all the Game Pass is getting huge, and all the positive momentum going into, you know, obviously we're getting a digital E3 this year. That's super exciting. How is your excitement level coming into this E3 versus, I would say, maybe last year or years previous, after all of those things have happened, after all of the excitement and momentum that's built up?
Yeah, well, I can't really say last year. Last year was such a
it was such a
yeah, kind of, we were all learning to manage on a new kind of reality in a lot of ways. I mean, not just us as Xbox, but all of you as fans. Like, we're all going through it together, our family lives and everything. So, but yeah, totally. I just kind of, you know, so last year was a completely different challenge. I would say, how do I feel about E3? Man, I'm just, you know, I feel excited. I feel good. Like I said, I feel the moment we feel like coming out of the Xbox One generation, we all kind of know, like, the start of that, you know, what we consider that moment in time was not the best. And, you know, Xbox felt that. And I think a lot of people, you know, were just like, we got to get right and get back. And, you know we can do this. We care about gamers. We care about games. We want to make great products. Like, we genuinely care. You know, it wasn't a lack of caring.
Yeah.
But, you know, there was a kind of like, again, there's a little bit of like, oh man, like, this one didn't start the way we wanted to. And I think really when we got a chance to know, like, hey, we really believe in this, in our console product. We're like, we really believe in what we did, how it was built and what it could be capable of and what it's going to be capable of. I mean, really, we haven't really seen it, you know, really the capabilities of it pushed yet. And, you know, and then having the option of, you know, having Series X and having Series S and launching two consoles for the first time, but just how they appeal to different types of gaming, you know, fans and consumers. And so I think when we made that decision to announce at the Game Awards, and I kind of mentioned it was a risky one. It could have been one that was like, hey, that's a big risk. Why are you taking this? And I think, you know, leading into that, we believed in our vision. You know, and I think that comes from Phil and down through, you know, all of that team and through marketing and down. And the vision was like, we all believe, you know, this is the right vision. And it took time to have a lot of those investments, like Game Pass, you know, the original start of Game Pass, it could have not been what it is today. You know,
that's a good point. Yeah.
It could have been something that was, it didn't work out. We shutter it, go a different route. But the belief in the vision and like where we want to go as a gaming company, I think has really been what's driving people. And so previous E3s, it was, well, we're not quite there with all the investments, whether it's content and, that was done through studios, or the investments in getting Game Pass up as a service or xCloud, but we all knew they were coming and we've been investing in them. And it's like this E3, it's like all those things are there. Like we made all the studio acquisitions, the show, to give people a reason to believe that the content's here and it's going to be coming, and it's going to be coming, nonstop, or it's going to be coming, for years. And we made a great piece of, console hardware. We have great accessories, a new kind of entry in our market, in our portfolio with a headset in that regard. And we feel really great about those products and, how they're built and designed and the reception that they've received, to now with, the cloud gaming and finally like getting it onto more platforms with iOS and browser. It's just like, wow, like all those things are now there. They're tangible. You can experience them and try them. And I know iOS, invite pending, but, but not far, you know what I mean? It's, being in beta, it's a good sign. And so coming into this E3, it just feels like versus, last E3s where you're like, believe in the vision. Now it's like, we're executing the vision, and it's tangible for our fans. And so it's really fun. It's really exciting. It's fun to kind of go into an E3 where we have all these great things and different ways for people to engage with our content and play and connect with each other, and coming on podcasts like this and talking to fans. It's just really fun. And I think that's what this E3 is going to be, is just another opportunity to continue to expand our story and, showcase some great content. And, hopefully the fans will really enjoy it. But I know it's a long answer, but yeah, I think the best feeling, this E3 is just knowing that we've done a lot of the things that we wanted to do, and we did them in a way that we feel proud. And in a lot of respects, we feel like the gaming community has felt proud, has been excited, and with this journey with us for the last 18 months, the last 2 years. And so this E3, now we're getting a little bit back to normal, not fully normal, especially definitely not normal, not for all parts of the world in terms of COVID, but there is a little bit of we at least have gone through this. And so it's not like last year. We can all kind of manage, in a way, but, it's just, it's going to be fun, I think, to have. And for us, normalcy of we're back in, back in June, oh, our business is so used to having that moment in June, and we're like, oh, we're back in June, we can do things, and it's just kind of feels normal, which has been weird in a year and a half of anything but normal for everybody. But like I said, it's not all normal. There's still many parts of the world. I know our business is really feeling, things, and not to kind of turn this, outside of gaming, but just seeing and feeling the things that are happening in India with COVID. And I know a lot of our team members have family there, and it's really hard to watch. And so also it's just, we have to be aware of there are bigger things, honestly, bigger things in life and in the world. And, we just want to also always make sure we're supporting our community and our coworkers and our colleagues, who are also kind of still feeling like for them, things aren't quite normal yet. So,
Oh man, that's awesome. And it's just, once again, great to hear. Now, I don't know if we're stuck at a hard at a hard 60, Josh? I'm not sure because
I'll probably get a text from my wife
Oh,
shortly.
Lord have mercy. Okay,
Yeah,
so we'll wrap.
She's, by the way, not to paint her in a bad light. She's amazing and so supportive. But also, it's she's also I have commitments to her, and I want to make sure.
No, it's all good. It's all good. So it's all good. So chat. Normally, I'd go ahead and ask questions, but we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up because I want to make sure Josh gets the time he needs. We all understand a lot of us got wives, and we all understand how that goes. So we got to make sure. But once again, chat, you guys are amazing. We appreciate you guys hanging out. I hope you guys had a great time on the show. And first and foremost, Josh, this is just one of the things So I'm gonna let you in on the secret, Josh. I'm gonna tell you something. Me and Fuzzy manifested you on the show. So I swear, I'm not even gonna lie. It sounds silly, but we were talking about it like maybe 3 or 4 days before you actually replied back to me. So, but it's just a persistence thing. But either way, I just personally appreciate you. We've been talking for a while now on Twitter, but I appreciate you coming on the show, taking a little bit of time out, hanging out with us, man. This was such a big deal for me. It's such a pleasure for all of us here, everybody that was watching live as well. So thank you from all of us for taking time out, man. We appreciate it. But let everybody know once again, what you do and what you got going on at Xbox.
Yeah, I just want to say thanks for the time. Thanks for the persistence and patience and inviting me. And it's always fun to just kind of chat and, apologies chat for not being able to answer any questions. Maybe I'll see if I can come in and the chat later on and maybe answer anything that we can. And thanks, PTK, always follow me on Twitter and liking my bad, so appreciate you making my bad social posts look good.
No problem.
So, I got a lot of weird, influences and references of bad, 80s and 90s culture stuck in my head that I just put out a lot. But yeah, like I said, I love to amplify the work of our team and the team that works for me, and all the things that we do. So if you do want to follow me on Twitter, it's just my name, Josh Munsee. But usually just kind of amplifying, a lot of our team's great work and my team's work. And we just, at the end of the day, we love what we do. We love marketing. We love creating stories and experiences that you all can, experience and connect with and, hopefully enjoy just as like gamers and fans of Xbox. And we just want to keep doing more of that. And so be on the lookout for more fun, stuff that we're going to be releasing over the next few months. So
Awesome. And we appreciate you here, but I'm going to let my compadres, kind of get their outros as well. So Fuzz, go ahead, man. Let everybody know what's going on with you.
Just want to really thank Josh for taking his time. Greatly appreciate you coming on the show. It was definitely a blast asking you questions, and I guess fortunately we didn't hit you with too many hard questions, but hopefully sometime down the road we can get you back on here as well. But greatly appreciate you taking the time. You can find me on Twitter as well at Fuzzy_Belvedere, on PSN Fuzzy_Belvedere, or Xbox Live Fuzzy space Belvedere. Typically I'm playing either The Division or Forza, so big Forza fan
Nice.
here. But thank you so much for your time.
yeah, it's probably your Drivatar that messes me up all the time.
Awesome. And then Pong, go ahead, brother.
Absolutely. Josh, thank you again. Honor and pleasure, sir. Please take back our kudos and bravo to you and your teams, because you guys have been knocking it out of the park. Absolutely. So we appreciate it. You guys can find me Pong Soul everywhere. Twitter, obviously Xbox. Otherwise, Friday nights, Xbox Ultimate with Fun Speculation, aka Mav and his wife Caitlin, and the rest of the Magnificent Seven. On Saturdays, you can find me in the mornings on Living Split Screen with my brother from another, Steel Rain. And then obviously Saturday nights here on the Shop Podcast. And then Tuesdays on the Xbox Factor Podcast with Mr. Boomstick and Zemi. But otherwise, this was a great show. Again, appreciate all your time, Josh, and hope we get to do it again some point. But keep up the good work, man.
Thanks, Pon.
Oh, absolutely. And last but not least, Centurion, man.
Thank you, PTK, for getting Josh here on. Thank you, Josh, for being here. You know, this has been a great experience. You're definitely a testament towards what Microsoft aims to do and the direction and North Star that they're actually following. But for those interested in following me, I am obviously Centurion1307. You could find me at Twitter, Xbox Live, and of course YouTube underneath that tag. You can also locate me every Saturday night right here with the amazing PTK Blam, the friendly Pong Soul, and the ever so awesome smooth operator Fuzzy Belvedere. And you can also find me over on the TXR podcast every Sunday night as well. And thank you, everyone, for joining us. And thank you once again, gentlemen, for letting me be part of this experience.
Awesome. And last but not least, your boy PTK Blam, host with the most across the board. So add me. All of that stuff is in the description below. I'm not going to take up too much time here. But once again, Josh, we appreciate you. Hopefully we can do this again, later on at some point, down the line. So thank you once again, everybody, for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. So same place, same time next week. Brand new guest next week. So let's keep this thing moving. Retweet the link. Let everybody know we're live here. But peace out, everyone. Enjoy your weekend. We're out of here, everybody.